Greetings and salutations to all of you lovely, fluffy, non fluffy, and equally as beautiful listeners out there. I just want to say that in these last 2 weeks of not uploading a podcast, I've definitely had a lot of time to think, and I'll get into why. But I do owe many of you, if not all of you, an apology for not making this happen for the past 2 weeks. Only because, well, frankly, there has been quite a bit of eventuality going on, so to speak. And I'll get into it right away. But yeah, I've been recovering, as you all know. If you can hear my voice, you can hear that I think I'm officially all better from my sickness that I had. And, still a bit of winter weather syndrome that's going on with my health. But I will say that for the most part, I am feeling rather, uh, I'm feeling rather well. Feeling much better than I was. I'm feeling a lot more active. My energy's back, and I'm sleeping better, which is always a plus. But yeah, I'm just so glad to be back in a state where I don't feel like I'm constantly needing to sleep or needing to rest or needing any sort of recovery. So that's good. I will take that and we will run with it. But I hope you all are doing well, and I hope that you all are enjoying your 2026 so far, and things continue to work out the way that it should. And when I say the way that it should, I mean in terms of things happening the way that they're supposed to. Things that are supposed to happen for a reason, and accepting the fates that come with us in our journey of life. That is the whole principle of the Latin phrase amor fati, which I've talked about before on the podcast. That is translated to love of one's fate or loving your fate. Amor fati, to love your fate, whatever that is. So if you can look at your circumstances and if you can look at the way that things are going and the way that things are, and you can really process them, cognitively reframe them, and accept what is happening in your life, then you are on top. If you can look at it, look at circumstances in their face and say, I love this and I'm going to conquer this, then you've won. You have become bulletproof to adversity. And I think that's a good practice for any of us. As hard as it may be sometimes, as hard as it may seem, it's not impossible to look at your fate, look at your life, and look at your circumstances and truly accept how they turn out and how they're going. So, just a little word of wisdom for you to start off. But I think we can go into the main reason that we're going to, chat about our time today. And I sound like a therapist already, but I'm going to give you the rundown of what's been going on. So, not only has there been a circle of recovery, there's also been a convention recently. So, as many of you may know, um, if you'll pardon me a second. Yeah, had something in my mouth. Sorry. Um, I went to Anthro, New England this past weekend, A&E as it's short, and it was a really good time. I am so thankful for all of you who came up and were able to chat and say something and just let me know that you're there and that you are present, and the fact that we got to spend time together just having a conversation, a hug, a photo, um, and overall just be there together and have a great time. That's truly a gift that I am going to take away and be grateful for. I've said it before, the highlights of cons for me, the main highlight of cons and meetups and, events alike is getting to meet you and getting to have those conversations and have those moments with you that truly do matter and truly do bring about the most in the time, and I'm just so blessed to be in this position of getting to meet you all and, getting to hear your stories and hear you interact. And, you know, some of you were so kind with your words, which I really, really appreciate. And some of you were, in fact, overly generous in that you took the time to, I want to say this I want to say this lovingly. You took the time to give me a gift. Some of you were very generous with your with your uh with your and that's a bit redundant. I was going to say so generous with your generosity, but you stepped up with your generosity and you were able to give me a gift of some kind, which again, I don't particularly like, I don't need. That's not a requirement. It's not something that I expect. It's not something that I'm looking for by any means, gift giving, which, and also at the same time, I just want to say that I do appreciate every single gift, like truly. Like, I really don't know what to say about it other than thank you. And it really does mean the most when, someone comes up and says, "Hey, I have art for you," or "I have something for you. I want to give you something." It really does my heart good. And like, it's on a whole nother level. Like, honestly, I can't begin to thank you enough for being so kind with your just so kind with material items. And yeah, like, I oftentimes, I'm gonna be honest, oftentimes I don't know how to respond like other than just saying thank you. Truly, it really does mean the most. And that right there is just, it's something material that I can look at and say, wow, that is an effective impact of sorts. It's the fact that you take the time to do that, just like it tells me that you truly do mean it. And not that, like, if you don't give a gift, it's not that you don't mean it, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know, it's a whole nother level. And I do struggle with it only because I'm not expecting it and it's not a requirement, like I said. But at the same time, it's like, I still want to show my appreciation as much as possible. So I'm going to continue to do what I do, and I'm going to continue to um, move forward with that in mind, of to never ever take this for granted, take these opportunities for granted. And just be in that moment of someone taking the time to do that, and just being thankful. And I just want you to know that I am so truly thankful for that. Um, One gift was of some fan art, which I really do appreciate, and that came with a poem. Shout out to Zenith for being so kind with that. And also, I had another individual who gave me a whole, and I'll pop a picture up on screen here, a whole train set, um, themed with Yellow Submarine by the Beatles. And that right there is just that. Honestly, I can't even begin to say how, like, wonderful that is, but also how specific it is. And it's a full-blown train set. Like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe that someone took the time to do that. So, shout out to Stryker. Thank you so much for that. You have truly, you both, like you all who gave gifts, truly did um, a number on me um, in terms of thankfulness, and I will cherish those treasures for as long as I can. I again, I struggle to talk about it, and I struggle to find words for it because it's just so generous, and I don't even know where to begin with that. But I just want you to know that I do really appreciate it so much. So that was the main highlight of the con, was getting to meet those who just even took the time to come up as and just say, like, I really like what you do. I love your videos. You're an inspiration, and thanking me, whereas I should be really thanking them. So I should be really thanking all of you for that. So yeah, that was I think the biggest takeaway for me was those experiences. But A&E itself was you know A&E itself was a wonderful, warm, and friendly vibe. Like, it was just a chill con. It was getting to fursuit for many hours. I fursuited for about 11 hours the first day, and then like maybe 6 hours the next day and 4 hours the last day. But yeah, just getting to be fluffy the entire time, and giving hugs and getting video, and just sharing that time with everybody. It really did me well, and I'm so grateful that I got to do that as well. And through the chaos of all the lines, because let me tell you, A&E was Lion Con, like between registration, the dealer's den, certain panels, the fursuit parade, like everything, everywhere. It was just lines and lines and lines, and and people complain about lines all the time, and I complain about them too. Like, trust me, I'm no stranger to them. But in a way, looking at it, it's a beautiful thing, because it shows that the con is growing, and that it shows that there are so many people who want to experience the furry fandom for what it is, and be able to have fun, and create and just be themselves. And the fact that attendance was way higher than last year. I think it was like by like 2,000. Don't quote me on that, but I think it was like a couple thousand more than last year when I went. So yeah, I'm just I'm floored by that. And not only that, but having the opportunity to not only experience con growth, but like the amount of charitable efforts that went into it, and the like from the dances to the parade to the shows and to the raves, and the auctions, and yeah, just doing so much good work for charity in that. And it's honestly a beautiful sight to see every time. And seeing that A&E pulled in as much as it did. I'm not entirely sure what the number was that we pulled in for charity this year. You can look it up, but yeah, I'm not certain on the number, but I do know it was a big number. That's what I heard. So I'm grateful to be a part of that as well. you know um but yeah, so I got there. I left on Thursday, and I worked a half day, and I got on my flight. It was absolutely a snowy mess and at the airport, and being a little nervous about it, because you never know what's going to happen with snow. You never know what's going to happen with ice and inclement weather. So I was definitely feeling, a certain way when I saw all the snow and the blizzarding and everything. So, business as usual. You check your bag, you get on the plane. The flight was relatively smooth, getting to Boston, and um, landing, getting to the airport. And this is actually kind of a funny occurrence. Well, it's funny and tragic, but I will tell it. So, um, So I get to the airport in Boston. It's rather busy, and I get to the drop point where the Ubers and Lyfts and all that pick up, and there is there is a plethora of individuals waiting for their Ubers, and I'm standing there with my fursuit stuff, just waiting. And uh, my Uber driver, God bless him, he was definitely in a bind trying to get to the airport because it was so busy and just hectic. And he must have circled around the block like 4 times before he got to my destination point. And I was so if you've never used Uber before, there's a GPS system and you can track your ride and see how far it is from you. And I just kept seeing the wonderful Uber driver just like circling over and over. And I'm like, oh my gosh, is he okay? Like, should I call this off? Should I message him? What do I do? And he ended up finally getting there, thankfully, no problem. Um, and he was very apologetic. He's like, "I'm so sorry you had to wait." And I waited like 15 minutes or something like that. It wasn't too bad, but I was like, "Oh yeah, no problem. Just, I'm just glad you got here safe." And, we load up and we're making small talk and whatnot. And he's like, "Oh, what are you in town for?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm here for a convention." And we started to talk about it a little bit. And I didn't say what the convention was, but I think I said it was something along the lines of Comic Con. And he was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool. Hope you have a good time. Oh, thanks." So, and traffic, by the way, it's like 6 p.m. around this time, and traffic is just brutal. Like, what should have been a 15-minute ride ended up being somewhere close to 45 minutes. And Boston traffic being Boston traffic, um, even that late at night on a Thursday, it just didn't make sense. But I'm not from there, so I don't know the customs. I don't know the culture of driving there. But yeah, I saw a lot of things that you don't often see in the Midwest. People use their horns a lot more in Boston than they do where I'm from. So, and where I'm from, we use our horn only if we have to, right? We only use our horn if we absolutely have to. Like, people don't use their horns very often when they're driving in where I'm from, only if absolutely necessary. But to Boston drivers, it's almost a requirement. I must have heard probably 30 horns just getting from the airport to the hotel. So, yeah, weirdly enough, that was the culture. But it unfortunately gets worse. We're going through the central interchange into downtown, which is where the con is at the Westin, and we are going through this sort of short tunnel, sort of kind of slow-ish, like it's about a 20-mile-per-hour crawl. And I'm just chilling in the back, just seeing the sights, whatnot, and then all of a sudden we hear the driver and I hear what sounds like scraping metal. It sounds almost like, someone took a metal brush and just like placed it along the side of the car, and just like a and we're like, "Oh." And we looked at each other and we were like, did that just happen?" And it was like, "Yeah, that just happened." So, the driver to the left of us pulls up and is like, let's pull up over there." Okay. So we get through the tunnel, we pull off to the side, and sure enough, somebody had sideswiped us. Not bad. Okay, it wasn't like a high speed sideswipe. It was more like a gentle little scrape, like a little touch. Someone got a little too close and just, gave it a nice kiss on the side. But it was enough to leave a mark, you know. So my Uber driver was once again very apologetic. He's like, "I'm so sorry I'm delaying the trip here, but I have to take care of this." I'm like, "Listen, it's fine. Just do what you got to do. It's your car. I understand how this goes. Like, I'm no stranger to automobile issues and accidents." But yeah, so he's making the exchange, taking pictures, they're swapping insurance and everything. And, they're doing the deed. And I'm looking out the window. I'm sitting in the car, right? And I'm looking out the window and I see a bit of an altercation, not a physical one, but definitely a verbal one. And the other guy gets in his car kind of frustrated Uber driver, the lovely Uber driver gets in the car and he was like, "Well, that's that." And I was like, "Was he?" I asked him if the guy was apologetic, and he's like, "Nope. As a matter of fact, I got an FU." So that's great. Boston, I guess, right? I don't know. So no apology. They did have a back and forth about whose fault it was when clearly it was the other guy because my Uber driver was in the correct lane going the right speed, and this guy like snuck up on us on the driver's side and just gave a nice gentle scrape on the side. uh, so that happened. And I immediately, when I got to the hotel, I messaged my roommates for the con, and I was like, "So this happened," and they're like, "Oh my gosh, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, everybody's fine. It was just a little bit of a side bender, right?" And when I got to the hotel, I found a seat, sat down, just kind of like cool off a little bit because my roommates haven't arrived yet. They're still on their way, and Um, I felt bad, so I went on the app and I tipped the Uber driver $20 because of his predicament, just to try and be nice. And I hope he saw that tip because not too long after I had done that, maybe like an hour goes by and I get a notification on my phone that I have been refunded the entire trip, including the tip. I was like, "Oh no, I bet you he didn't see a cent of that money." Ugh, that was really heartbreaking. Like I don't know why I didn't think to do this, but I should have given him a $20 from my wallet. I had cash on me. I should have given it to him. I should have just been like, "Look, like I should have seen it coming. Like Uber's probably not going to pay you for this because of the accident. Um, so here's a physical 20 that you can keep to yourself." But I didn't think to do that. I don't know why. I figured maybe the app would give a little bit of mercy, but that's apparently not the case. So yeah, um, I, I just it breaks my heart to know that he probably didn't see any of that, let alone the payment to the ride, but also the tip. But oh my gosh, I at the very least hope he saw that, there was a tip, that was granted, and I don't know how he's going to work it out with his insurance, but yeah, I really hope that he gets something out of it. I really hope that, he gets some compensation for the trouble because that was turned out to not be a good night for him. And, I just felt horrible. So if you're listening, Mr. Uber driver, which I doubt you are, I really hope you got something out of that despite the accident, because you deserve it. And he was so willing and so cool and just kind and I don't know. I really hope that something came out of that for him in the end. But anyway, um speaking of the Uber driver, I did mention convention to him, and when we pulled into the Weston main lot, there in the distance, the short distance leading up to the door, because it's like a circle drive around, you got to circle around and you got to pull up to the front. Um, all of the fursuiters were standing outside because it was hot in the inside. And he was like, "Okay, here we are." And then he didn't say a word after that. Yeah, I think he was a bit taken aback by the fact that we were at a furry convention, and yeah, he didn't say anything about it. I was gonna say something about it, like, "Yep, here we are indeed. This is what I do. This is the convention. I hope that in some way, shape, or form, you got a funny story out of it." But I didn't say that. I wanted to make a comment. I wanted to make a joke about it, but I knew that he was already processing the accident and he was already kind of in a funk from that. So I hope that in some way him seeing the fursuiters at the very least gave him a laugh and a story to tell his family and friends of just like, "Yeah, I got sideswiped and I took this dude to a furry convention." Yeah, so that was quite a night, So Yeah, put a positive spin on it. I really hope that he got something out of it. But anyway, so I get in, and my roommates are like, okay, we'll be there in like an hour and a half. And I can't get in the room because they have the registration, they have the reservation for the hotel room. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to bite the bullet and I'm going to get registration done. So regrettably, I grabbed all of my bags and I trudged my way all the way downstairs to where the registration line started. And I waited in that line for close to 2.5 hours. Yeah. And mind you, I had my giant suitcase and I had my carry on suitcase that I bring my fursuit hen in. And I dragged that thing throughout the entirety of the hotel for registration. From start to finish, I was dragging those bags from point A to point Z. And by the end of it, I was irritable. I was sweating. It was so hot in that hotel, and I was still wearing my coat and my hat and my scarf. And I was like, I can't sacrifice any of this clothing or these bags, otherwise I'm going to lose my place in line. Uh, yeah. So I had no choice. I had to drag everything with me and suffer in the heat. But you know what? It was worth it because I got registration done. Like, that's the number. And I know I've given like con tips in the past, but that was the number one thing that I did was just like, that's the number one thing that you have to get done other than unpacking and making sure that you have water and like you're, taking care of yourself, but also if just get registration over with as fast as possible and as soon as possible. Like once you get to the con, get registration done as fast as you can. um Far be it from me to be that person to say, oh, I'll just do registration tomorrow. Well, let me tell you something, a little bit of a secret. When it comes to conventions, usually, not always, not all the time, but usually when you make the decision to get registration done the next day, the line is a lot longer and it's a lot worse. So the sooner you can get it done, the better, because people are still coming in the next day. People are still setting up camp the next day. And it's during the day. So you have more people who are more active, of course. So I highly advise any of you who are going to a convention, please, 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 number one, take care of yourself. Make sure you have water. Make sure you've eaten. Make sure you have plenty of energy and you are in a good place. But also, number two, get registration done as soon as possible. That is my advice to you because you will regret it if you don't get it done and you're going to end up with a longer line and you're probably going to miss things that you want to go to, like panels and hanging out with friends and whatnot, or fursuiting. And yeah, so yeah, get it done. So I did. And thankfully, by the time I got reg done, my roommates had arrived. So I was able to go straight up to the room and just zonk. I threw my bags up. I unpacked. It was really funny because my roommate who got the room actually got stiffed on the room, and I was upset as well as he was, of course. We were supposed to get a double queen room, which is pretty standard for a furry convention, right? Is if you have like 4+ roomies, then you're going to need a double queen or a double bed situation because two and two, right? So the hotel, regrettably, gave us a king room, one king bed, no pull-out couch. Great. So we thought about it and we were like, is it worth the headache to try and get a room transfer? Because we're already here. You guys drove. Like I flew, but they drove, right? The rest of them drove. And they were like, you know what? Let's just get a rollaway bed and we'll figure it out. So that's what we did. When I walked in the room, there was a rollaway bed just chilling in the middle of the room. And the lovely Ollie, my roommate, was um, freshening up after the long drive, and I set up the bed and got my stuff unpacked, and it all worked out. So yeah, Since there were four of us, the rollaway bed was only a single, so I ended up taking that. Two others were on the king size bed, and the third, or the fourth rather, was on the floor. Now, before you say anything, they volunteered. They volunteered to be on the floor. They did not mind. And so we made it as comfortable as possible for them. And by that, I mean so we did a little bit of we did some backyard science, right? Turns out my lovely second roommate, Schrodinger, shout out to Schro, had just gotten his full fursuit, literally the past week, and that included the full suit. Like he already had his partial, but the full suit, and two giant foxtails. And when I say giant, I mean like the size of body pillows. Like these things are massive, massive tails, right? So we took the larger of the two tails and we laid it on the ground with the comforter from the king size bed because they weren't going to need that because it was too hot in the room. And ended up making a bed out of the tail and out of the comforter, some pillows, and sure enough, it worked. They had some decent sleep, and I'm glad because I was ready to share this one person rollaway bed with them, but it ended up working out a lot better than we thought, and they were rather comfortable, at least as far as I know. So, yeah, get go figure. Furries and their innovations, right? So, yeah, they had a bed tail. So, or a tail bed. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that that worked out, but it did. So yeah, that was our little innovations. And as soon as I got unpacked and we, kind of vibed in the room for a little bit, said our hellos, I immediately got in fursuit and I went down. I was so ready to make this con memorable as every second that I could. So yep, I suited up, and Shro suited up with me in full suit, and we went and we got some photos, and because he's very photogenic in his new suit, he's like a kaiju, so he's like a giant paws and padding, digi padding, and all that, and he was just having the time of his life. So we went down and we got some photos, and it worked out pretty well. So I was the photographer. Yeah. So I'm glad it worked out. Yeah, they were so excited for their new suit, and I wanted to capture the moment as much as possible, so we did. And by that point, we were all tired. It was like 1 in the morning, and we're like, you know what? I think it's bedtime. We need to just zonk out for the night. So we did. And the next day, went to the busiest Dunkin' Donuts of all time. Oh my gosh, that was a busy morning for breakfast, let me tell you. Oof. So it was either that or pay, I think it was like $36 for the buffet in the hotel, which none of us were excited about. So we just decided, you know what, let's go cheap. And we went to Dunkin'. And that line was probably longer than registration line just for Dunkin' Donuts. And you got to think also, this is Boston in the middle of winter, so the wind cuts right through you. So we were standing outside for a little bit, trying our best to maintain, and because we couldn't go in yet because the line was so long. And eventually we did. So yeah, we got our Duncan and we survived. So that's good. Um, and then immediately got in suit and headed down to the fursuit parade, which I thought it was kind of odd that the fursuit parade was on Friday, but hey, I'm not going to complain. It was a decent time. We lined up, we got photos, we got our giant group photo, which I believe is on social media now. So if I find it, I will pop it up on the screen. But yeah, um, and we started our march all the way around the hotel. And thankfully, it was a sunny, dry day. Though be it winter, it was a sunny, dry day for the fursuit parade, and it went very well. As a matter of fact, we ended up walking around half a mile to get around the bend. So half a mile total. My gosh. Oh, what a time. So, yeah, that was a really good time, and, Schrodinger and I, we fursuited for most of the day. We were just walking around, having a good time, saying hi to friends, going to different events. I went to a couple of room parties, which was fun. Saw a lot of people that I hadn't seen for a very long time, and met new friends too. Um, got some telegrams and got some stickers, and by the time the end of the night rolled around, we had pretty much completed our mission. So yeah, by the end of the night, we were all dog tired after a full day of a con. So, and that was just Friday, So I did not break my first shooting record this time. I almost did. I was breaking my first shooting record would be anything over 11 hours and 40 minutes. That's my current held record for being in suit for straight through 11 hours and 40 some minutes. So as soon as I reach 12 hours, I think I will stop counting, because once you reach being in suit for 12 hours straight, I think you're good at that point. I don't think you need to be counting anymore. So, and really, it's not even trying to prove anything. People ask me like, why do you track your suiting time, and like why is like 11 hours is insane. Why would you do that to yourself? Honestly, purely because to say I did it. Like tw 12 full hours in suit just to say that I did it. Like that's the only real reason, and I'm willing to um take that accolade eventually once I get to 12 hours. So, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to try to do it this year at some point for a con. I just don't know when, don't know what con, but preferably a cooler con. Like, it wasn't this con, but maybe MCFC, maybe TFF, which is slightly warmer, but I think it'll still work out. But yeah, so that that is something. Oh, stretchy. That is something that I'm willing to bet will be a fruitful endeavor, so to speak. So, you know, I'm looking forward to how that works out. So yeah, Saturday. Uh, I'm trying to think. Saturday, I mostly just vibed. Suited and excuse me. Spent some time with friends. Went to their rooms and chilled, and just enjoyed ourselves. Went to a couple meets and went to a couple panels, and got a lot of video. Really cool that the panels that they had this year. There was an ASMR panel that I went to. I went to an impromptu a Fat Furs meet, which was a lot of fun. As you all know, I'm a fan of that. And yeah, it was real nice to get to have that opportunity, and get to meet new people and such. So, you know, um, but let's see, I'm trying to think. Did anything in particular happen Saturday? I'm not entirely sure, but it just I think it was pretty general stuff. I just remember the elevators being super chaotic, and getting to spend time also with a friend who it was his birthday that day, so get to chill and just be in each other's presence for his birthday, and yeah, so shout out to him for having a con birthday. And then Sunday, that was the day that I was leaving, and that's a whole other story that I'll get into. But excuse me. I ended up leaving sort of early evening, so around 6-ish. But before that, I wanted to squeeze in as much fursuit time as possible. Oh, I forgot to mention, Saturday, I went and got seafood, proper lobster and clam chowder. And let me tell you, Boston clam chowder and lobster is like nothing you've ever tasted. It is so good. And I also got a one of the best mixed old fashioned drinks, like old fashions that I've ever had in my life. It's was absolutely glorious. So yeah, I highly recommend legal restaurant on the pier. of Boston. If you're ever in the area, if you're ever on the Boston Pier 1, the Legal Restaurant, that's what it's called. And they have amazing seafood. So yeah, I'm definitely a fan. So I think I'll be going back there next year too. But yeah, so that was fun for Saturday, a good end to Saturday. And going to the rave on Saturday was a lot of fun. The vibes were absolutely immaculate. Getting to, dance around and just enjoy the music and just, yeah, just man, like I don't know how to even describe it. It was just so wonderful just being in that room and seeing all the lights and the colors and the music and just just being fluffy. And I'll tell you real quick, that was a certainly an experience. It's a sometimes I'll have this happen. So like when I'm at a rave, I will just I'll close my eyes while I'm dancing and I'll just think about, wow, I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm where I should be in life right now. And I'm very thankful for this opportunity, and being here. So sometimes I will open my eyes and I'll look down and I'll see like my paws in front of me. Like I'll hold my paws in front of me and just look and see like, wow, I'm fluffy. And look around me and I'll see all the fluffy animals just dancing and just listen to the music and just feel the bass, just thumping. And it's just I don't know, it's just there's something about it. There's nothing like that feeling of just being present and being in that moment of like I am exactly where I should be right here right now, and I'm grateful to be here, you know. And to live any other way would be nuts. I can't think of any other way to live my life, and I'm okay with this. This is this is the perfect time to do this, and the perfect place to be. So on Sunday, I got in as much suiting as possible before I had to leave, and by the time 4 o'clock rolled around, I got my stuff all packed up, and I had to leave for my flight. So I said my goodbyes to the roomies and to the peeps going out, and and I actually had a gut feeling moment as I was leaving. I remember standing outside waiting for my Uber. I had my bags again, and I was just looking around, and I had this gut feeling that just came over me that was like, I should not leave. I should not be leaving right now. And it wasn't just like the post-con depression or the not wanting to leave talking. It was like an actual legitimate feeling of like, I should not be leaving right now. Like, I there's something in me that's telling me that I can't be leaving. And I'll tell you why that is. So I get in my Uber and I'm looking back, and as the sights disappear from my view of the fluffy animals, I'm still having that sense that like I should have stayed another day. I should have, I should be continuing to stay throughout the rest of the weekend. And it turns out I was right, because when I got to the airport and went through security, it started to snow hard, like really hard. And I was sitting in the airport lounge waiting for my flight, had my bags, and I get a notification that says my flight has been delayed. And then I get another notification shortly after that. Your flight has been delayed another 30 minutes or so. And then a third notification pops up. Your connecting flight from Boston to Philly and from Philly to, well, your connecting flight from Philly to Ohio has been canceled. Oh no. What? And has been rescheduled for the next morning. What? No, this is unacceptable. I don't appreciate this. So I am frantically on my phone trying to figure out, like, can I change my connecting flight to something else? Can I, do something? And I'm looking and there's nothing. There's absolutely no options for that same night from Philly to Cleveland that are viable, and I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, like, what do I do?" So, I started to weigh my options at that point. I'm like at this point, it's like 7:30, and my flight should have been boarding by now, but it's not, and I'm like, "Okay, so do I cancel the second flight and just, like, rent a car and make the trek home?" But that wasn't a viable option either because, 1, I would have to spend more money for a rental car, and the mileage and driving from Philadelphia to Cleveland would take about 6 hours. So, by the time I land in Philadelphia and drive from Philly to Cleveland, it would be about 3, 4 AM at that point, and I still have an hour trek home. So, I would be getting home probably around 5:30 in the morning and then have to wake up and go to work. I was like, "That is not an option. I can't do that, and I don't wanna be spending any more money than I have to." So, I was like, "Alright, I'm just going to contact my manager and tell him the situation and see what we can do." So I contact him, I tell him the situation. He's like, "Listen, you can work half a day tomorrow. That's fine. And we can flex your time. Just get home safe." And I was like, "Thank you so much for like shout out to my boss, honestly, for working with me on that." Like I was just took a lot of stress off, I'm not gonna lie. So finally, we get on the flight, from Boston to Philly, and we're sitting on the tarmac for probably an hour or some, and I'm stewing. I'm like, "I don't know what I'm gonna do." So I'm looking up I'm, like, Googling hotels nearby, the Philly airport, and I'm just like, "Okay, there's one that's, like, a point 0.1 miles away, there's one that's, like, a mile away, and pricing and blah, blah, blah." So I settle on one and I'm like, okay, we'll just deal with this. Excuse me. We'll just deal with this when we get there. So we get there and I can't find the shuttle drop to save my life because I've never been to Philly Airport, so I have no idea what I'm doing. Finally, I find it, and I, I'm standing out on the stoop for probably half an hour in the cold, just waiting for this shuttle to arrive because they're complimentary shuttles. They're convenience shuttles, so you don't have to pay anything. And finally, after half an hour and chatting with the locals and telling them the situation, they're like, "Oh yeah, they usually come around like every half hour or so. You just gotta like spam call them." So yeah, after some contacting, finally the shuttle shows up and man, I'm just frazzled at this point. And I'm the only one on the shuttle. It's like midnight at this point, and I'm just so tired and stressed. And I'm just like, I just wanna go sleep. Well, it doesn't end there. I get on the shuttle, I'm the only one on there, and I chat with Chris, who is the driver, which very nice individual. We had a really good conversation while we were driving to the hotel. He was telling me about his life, and he was in the military at one point, and all of his travels, and like he's been to like Germany, he's been to Russia, he's been to Japan, he's been to Pakistan, he's been to Canada, British Columbia. Well, British Columbia is the same thing, but like you know South America. He's been all over the place and while he was active in his military days, and I really respect him for that. And so I thanked him for his service, and we shook hands, and I said, "Thank you. Thank you so much for your service and for, picking me up at such a late hour." He's like, "No problem. You have a great night." So it was a good interaction. So I'm really happy that I got to meet Chris. Shout out to him for being a true gentleman, in his craft. So I get in the hotel and I walk up to the front counter and I just say three words. I say three things. One room, one night, cheapest option, please. And they look at me confused and they're like, "Do you have a reservation?" And I was like, "No." And they're click, click, click on the keyboard and they're like, "Oh yeah, check-in time is around 4 o'clock, so we can't give you a room." And I put my hands on the desk and I was like, "Listen, I just came from the airport. Okay. So one of two things are going to happen here. Either you let me reserve a room for the night because my flight is at like 5 in the morning, or I'm gonna sleep in your lobby. You take you take the choice. You pick." So I'm guessing the manager steps over and he click, click, click something on the keyboard and he's like, "There you go." And they set me up with a reservation and a room. I paid them and I said, "Thank you. You're a lifesaver." So sometimes it just takes a little bit of a push. Sometimes you gotta be a bit of a Karen. Not recommending that by any means, but sometimes you gotta be a little firm in your position in order to get something done. So they heard my case and they helped me out. So I really have to give props to the hotel staff near the airport at the Doubletree for hooking me up with a room in a desperate time. Now, granted, I had to spend more money, but you know what? This is a desperate time and it's necessary. So yep, I wheel my bags in and I basically zonk out on the bed immediately. I'm still wearing my clothes because I'm not going to unpack anything, right? I'm not sticking around because I have to be up at like 5 a.m. to catch my flight. So I just, I get in bed. I get in the bed with all my clothes on. I still have everything on me, like my phone, my wallet, and everything. I'm just like, you know what? This is fine. I will roll out of bed, put my shoes on, get my coat, and leave. And that's exactly what I did. So 5 a.m. rolls around, I roll out of bed, get my shoes on, everything, and I trudge my happy little butt downstairs. And I see the same lady who gave me the reservation the night before, and she looks at me and she says, "Did you have a good sleep, darling?" And I was like, "Okay. Uh I appreciate the Southern hospitality comment there, but, like, I just wanna get out of here." And they were like, "Okay, fair enough. Thank you for helping me out. Okay, have a good day." And she was like, "Oh, yeah, so the shuttle should be coming around within the next half hour." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, 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 cool, no problem. Yeah, yeah, yeah." No, I ordered an Uber, and I got the fluff out of there because I just wanted to leave. I'm like, I'm so done with traveling. I'm done with all this. I'm done with Philly. I'm done with airports. I just get me home, please. So I got my Uber. The gentleman was very kind, knew the situation. I told him my flight was in like an hour and a half. He's like, "All right, we'll get you there." So we zipped our way to the airport. Thankfully, he was being safe about it, but he got me there in only 5 minutes, thankfully. And I said my goodbyes and I got in the security line, which, funny enough, the main security line was actually going faster than TSA pre-check, which I thought was interesting. I don't know why that was moving faster than the pre-check line, but I didn't care. I'm just like, I just want to go home. Just get me out of here. So I get in the line and I'm walking up and the I don't know if it's just I'm not trying to stereotype, but, like, the there must be, like, an attitude or something that goes among, Phillians, I guess is the word, but because well, maybe it's just TSA. What am I talking about? It's probably just TSA in Philly. I don't know what it is, but I I put my stuff on the conveyor like you do for security check, and they yell at me like, "Sir, that's the pre-check line. You need to be over here." And I was like, "Okay, okay. Oh my gosh, geez, calm down. I just woke up and my flight is like in an hour, so just be kind, okay?" I just put my hands up like, "Okay, geez, my gosh, so, oh, so anyway, that was fun. So get my stuff off, and then they actually ended up flagging my bag because I had a little Bluetooth speaker in my. This was in my carry-on fursuit head bag, by the way. So I I immediately went ghost white. I was like, "Oh no, they're gonna search my bag. They're gonna open up the bag, and there's the fursuit. Hey!" That did not happen, thankfully. I ended up they ended up bringing my bag to me and I opened it and I got my got my little speaker out. Yeah, and I was able to just pull it out and put it on the conveyor and that was it. They did not open it, thankfully, because I knew they were going to have a field day with me if they had seen the fursuit inside, but yeah. I mean, it's not like they can't see it anyway with the x-ray machines, but I digress. So that was a bit of an issue. I did not get searched this time. Well, actually. I did get searched in Cleveland, which I just want to mention is sort of a streak with me. Every single time I've flown in like the past 2 years, I've been searched at least once somewhere along the line. So I don't know what it is. I don't carry any weapons. I don't have anything to hide. So just yeah, pat me down if you must. So yeah, this is when I initially left, by the way. So I just, yeah, I put my arms up and pulled my pants up, and I was like, all right, you guys have a field day. Go right ahead. And got the pat down, and I was thinking in my head, I wanted to say something, but I didn't. I didn't want to add fuel to the fire, of course. So, but I wanted to be like, oh yes, please take all your time. Take the time you need. Enjoy it. This is the last time you'll get to do this. Just something smart alecky, but I did not say that. I really wanted to, but I was just kind of it was kind of PO'd that I have to, had to get searched again. But anyway, that's a little bit of a side note. So get through security, get to the gate, and I get some breakfast, some coffee, so kind of cheer myself up. I am dog tired. I think I only got like 4 hours of sleep that night. And I'm sitting in the chair dozing off, and then the front desk lady at the terminal, at the gate, she comes up to me and she's like, "Here, you're gonna have to check your carry-on bag because you're in the last group." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Seriously? You're gonna make me do this?" And then she's like, "Yeah, sorry." I'm like, "Okay, well, there's nothing I can do, so I guess I have to check my fursuit head, and I really don't want to do that because it's fragile." I get squeamish about that. Ugh. So I just was like, you know what? I'm on this fuse of like I have no more fluffs to give. I just want to get home. It is what it is. Just put the tag on the bag. It's fine. So I tag my bag. We get on the plane, and I see I have to drop my bag off at the end of the runway, right, or the walkway. And as I'm getting on the plane, I see that there are plenty of open compartments for carry-ons, and I'm like, what was the point of checking my carry-on bag? But it was too late then because they had already taken it, so I'm not even gonna make a stink about it. But yeah, needless to say, I was not happy about that. So I just sat down and I'm like, you know what? It's fine. It'll be fine. Just sit down, shut up, and get home. So thankfully, it was a sunny morning in Philly, and we took off no problem. But I have to say, the flight itself was a little rough, just trying to get home. But thankfully, I was able to catch some sleep on the plane, listening to Creepcast and listening to Smiling Friends lore because I've been obsessed with Smiling Friends lately. But that's a different story. Anyway, so we land, and it is an absolute whiteout blizzard in Cleveland. Oh, it's like I never left. Everything was the same when I left, but when I left and when I got back. So by this point, it's 10:30, and I told my manager because my manager was like, "You can work a half day." I'm like, "Okay, fine," and that means I have to be in by noon. Okay, so I'm racing against the clock at this point. It's 10:30, and I'm still an hour away from my workplace. So I grab my bag. Well, actually, I'm in the very back of the plane, I should mention, because I was in the last group. And everybody gets up, does their thing, grab your bags, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm watching my watch. I'm just like, okay, I have about an hour to get to where I need to go. This is going to be a challenge, but we can do it. We can do it. There's a will and a way here. We can do it. It's 10:30, and I finally get out of my seat, and I have to wait in a small line on the walkway to get my carry-on bag because they had to check it. So what else are you gonna do? You gotta wait. So my bag, my carry-on bag that I was supposed to carry on that has my fursuit head in it is one of the last bags to come off of the conveyor, of course. So I didn't hesitate. I just I just grabbed it and I ran. I ran down the walkway. I didn't care who was around. I just ran. At one point I did trip over my bag, so I was booking it. And I'm looking at my watch, 10:40. Okay, run through the terminal. Okay, 10:45. Okay, I have to pee, but I don't have time. 10:40, 10:48. I get to the baggage claim and I had a thought. I was like, "Oh, wait a second. Hold on. They had my bag since the night before the connecting flight. So that means that they had my main bag that I checked this entire time, and I don't even know if it's gonna be here. Like, there's a possibility that it didn't even show up on this flight. So it just kinda dawned on me there. I was like, "Oh my gosh, what if my bag doesn't show up?" But I didn't have time to worry. I just got down to the baggage claim, and I hoped and prayed for the best. Got all the way down. I'm checking my watch. It's 10:50. I have to be at work at noon, right? And I'm waiting and I'm waiting. 10:52, waiting. 10:53, waiting. And sure enough, baggage claim buzzer goes off, and whose bag is first in line? Mine. I was like, "Oh, thank God." And I wasted no time. I ran up, I grabbed the first bag, which was mine. I made sure, and I booked it out of the baggage claim to the parking lot where my car was. And I was thinking the whole time, "Oh my gosh, it had snowed. I need to brush off my car. I need to start it. I need to make sure it's de-iced." All that stuff. And I'm looking at my watch, 10:55. I'm running through the I am like I'm like Lightning McQueen through the walkways, through the parking lots, through the parking decks, through the doors, down the elevator, down the escalators, up another escalator. Finally get out to the parking lot where I left my car. The wind is hurting my face. It is not a pretty sight. The wind is cutting me in half. The blizzard is just taking me out, and I'm just like, "Oh, why do I do this to myself?" But I'm hucking it through through the storm and the Antarctic just jungles of Northeast Ohio, right off of the Lake Erie effect, getting to my car. It's a distance now. 10:57. I get to my car. 10:58. Open the door. Open the back. Throw my bags in. Don't even care about the snow. 10:59. I get in the car. Thankfully, there is no ice on my car. It was just snow. So throw on the wipers. Clear. Good. Start the car. 11 a.m. I have exactly 1 hour to get to my workplace at this point. I don't even care about my car being warmed up. I peel out of that parking lot, and I can't see anything. It is a whiteout blizzard. The roads are terrible. Like, there's snow on the roads. No ice, thankfully, but there was snow. And oh my gosh. I didn't cut anybody off. I was very safe driving. I just want to point that out. But the whole time I am just zipping down the highway, and I'm watching the clock, 11:05, 11:10, 11:15. It's just going on and on and on until finally I reach my exit. It's about 11:45 at this point, and I know from this exit to the point of my workplace, it's exactly 15 minutes. Somehow, I peel in the parking lot of my workplace right at noon, like on the nose at noon. I waste no time. I jump out of the car, like literally fall out of the car, and I'm running in the snow to the main door. I clock in, and I'm like speed walking to my department, and then I get there and I take a deep breath. I made it. I was not late. I made it. Ha! I can't believe it. Ugh. So, my gosh. But let me just let me just say one more thing. When I got there, when I got to my workplace, I got to my desk and my coworkers are flocking around me like, "Where have you been? Why are you here? What's going on? How was your flight? How was the trip?" All the questions. I'm getting bombarded from every side, and all I want to do is just sit down and go through my emails and just tune out for a minute. I'm like, "Okay, guys, here's what happened. Here's the rundown." I tell them the story, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, can't believe you made it." I'm like, "Yep." So then something very interesting happens in addition to all this. I unzip my very heavy coat and I hang it up and I realize a couple things. I'm still wearing my furry t-shirt. I'm wearing my bluey Hawaiian shirt and my con badges. Still wearing them. And I was like, that's interesting. So I hung it all up. Nobody saw, thankfully. But it was just kind of funny. I was in such a rush that I completely forgot about my wardrobe. And I had to stand there, take my coat off in front of everybody, or at least some witnesses will say, and I had to be totally cool about it. Don't call attention to it. Just put on your work shirt and just get started. So I did. And let me tell you, that day I was so slap happy, like tired slap happy. I was goofy and it's all a blur at that point. So, oh, and that's my trip, everybody. That was A&E. My gosh, I cannot believe that. Excuse me. I cannot believe that all of that happened. And oh my gosh, just like, uh, the awe, like, reliving it now, I just have no words. Let me tell you. Not really much to say about it other than what you already heard. All I have to say is trust your gut. I should have I should have planned more ahead and I should have taken the extra day off because my gut feeling was telling me that this was going to be a problem. And sure enough, it was right. So plan accordingly when it comes to conventions. You can be smart about it and you can plan how you're going to plan, but make sure that you know exactly what you're doing because you never know when problems like this will come up. So I think I've yapped quite a bit. Let me just say um, something to the effect of I'm very grateful for this adventure, and I'm also grateful to say that I got no con crud this time, thankfully. And I think my body's done being sick for a while, so but again, I am just overly thankful and overly like grateful for all of everything that happened this past weekend. And I love A&E. It is a beautiful con, and I am so much looking forward to future years and going and just having a great time in Boston. So shout out to all of the Anthro New England staff, the hotel staff, the convention runners, the volunteers, charity, friends, everything, everybody that made this con possible. I really do appreciate all of you and all of your efforts for making an amazing weekend. And on that note, I want to end this podcast with something that I read this morning. And as many of you know, I am a huge fan of Stoic philosophy. So I have a quote for you. And this is from our friend, Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. And this is honestly, I think, a really good cap off to the story that I just told you. And, being grateful for the position that you're in right now. As I began this podcast talking about loving your fate, I think this is a really good wrap up. So here we go. Marcus Aurelius says, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, and to love." So, lovely listeners, to all of you, I encourage you, when you rise in the morning, just think of what a privilege it is to be alive and to be here now and to live your life to the fullest extent. In the similar way that you just heard in the story that I just told, I can say with full confidence, I am grateful for it through all the chaos and the adventure and the warm, heartfelt, beautiful moments to being here with you right now, telling you about it. I'm grateful, and I would not change a single thing about it. I truly wouldn't. So, to all of you, I want to say, as per usual, just remember, greatness from small beginnings. Sic Parvis Magna. No matter where you started and where you're going now, always remember that you have a purpose to fulfill in your life. And there's so much that you can be grateful for. There's so much that you can have in your life, and so much you can be living for now, and appreciate what you have, because even though your beginning may be small, even though you're not sure quite of your journey yet, there is greatness in every step. Whether you create it or whether you find it, there is greatness. And to those who brought you up and to those who stand by you today, to this day, always remember to let them know that you care about them and that you love them, because you never know what tomorrow will bring. And in the same way, remember to be you. Be yourself. Don't let anyone ever tell you who you can and can't be or what you can and can't do. That is for you to decide and for you to do. There's never been anyone like you. There's no one like you right now, and there will never be anyone like you in the future. So only you can live the way that you do and live the best life that you can right now. And only you can do the things the way that you can, uniquely the best of your ability, because only you can do that. So, until next time, this is Samson Kitty Fox, letting you know that I am truly grateful for you, because if it wasn't for you, I would not be here right now. Have a good night, and I will catch you in the next episode. Bye-bye. Bye. Love you all. Meow meow.